Hey guys, it's Ben the Coin Geek at Old Pueblo Coin. Thanks for joining me today. As always, share, like, do all the YouTubey things, and I'm glad that you're here to hear about the Baltimore show that I got back from and had a nice time in Baltimore, my first time to the East Coast. We're going to talk a little bit about the show itself, what it has to offer, about Baltimore itself, about how the show stacks up, and just kind of what the coin market looks like right now. So I went to Baltimore not to sell coins. I actually went only as a social media guest of the show, so I got to do interviews while I was there. I did a few live interviews, which are already up on our channel. Unfortunately, the Jeff Garrett video got truncated because we had technology problems, but it was good that the John Feigenbaum video went straight through. I encourage you to go and watch any of those videos that we had already shared. I think that when you go to the YouTube channel, you may have to click on the live link to see the videos that were actually listed as live instead of them being in the normal feed. I don't know how that works or why, but I've just discovered that more recently. So I also recorded several videos while I was there, including with a gentleman named Owen who is getting all of the currency albums made digital. And so that's like tens of thousands of pages. And so that was a fun little interview, and Julie Abrams from Stacks, a nice little interview, and we had a couple more in there that we will be popping up on maybe on the next couple Sundays. We'll figure it out. They'll be coming in the pipeline. Just keep an eye out for those interviews. I really encourage you, if you're used to just watching videos about coins, to actually listen to those, because there's a lot to learn about the industry, and about there's a lot of insight that these people have about coins, coin collecting, and the history of everything around you. So it's more than just the coins, because without the people, there's no coin market. It's just coins, just you and some coins, which is fun, right? So look forward to seeing those in the near future. Now, okay, one more thing, Instagram. Also, I posted a bunch and will continue to post reels on Instagram about the show. I'm super excited to be back there in November and do the same thing, and I'll have a better feel for things, so hopefully I'll have even more content for everybody. All right, so the show itself, Baltimore Summer Show, just like Long Beach Summer Show, is a little bit slower than their other shows. I would say that my take on things was that the Long Beach show was a little busier as far as like the people go. I will also say that the show dates are a little bit different. The Long Beach show is a Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Now I'm thinking, I had a 21-hour return trip, and so now my brain's a little bit fried here. But so if I'm wrong on that, undoubtedly everyone will correct me. This show is a Thursday, Friday, Saturday. And like most shows, if the attendance is a little bit lower than usual, you'll see guys packing up a little bit earlier. The show is, I don't set up shows like this, and it's very difficult to set up a show. So I don't know if it makes more sense for them to have a Friday, Saturday, Sunday, or if Thursday, Friday, Saturday is how all the shows are. Here's the thing about it. Many of the dealers I talked to still had a good show, and also many of the dealers that I talked to that didn't have a great show are dealers that have been going there forever, and they all said the same thing. They understand that you're not always going to have a great show. This is true whenever I go and do a show somewhere. It's not always going to be a great show for the individual. Now, for the consumer, I'll say this. It's a really good show to go to, because there is a ton of people there still. There is, I think, probably about the same number of dealers there that are at Long Beach, perhaps even more so. And that is something that if you're a coin collector and you want to go see really cool historical sites and go to a coin show, maybe you tell your family, hey, we've got this cool historical stuff to see, this Americana stuff. And then just, oh, by the way, maybe we can spend Thursday at the Baltimore Convention Center. I heard there's a coin expo going on. Just go ahead and play it. Just play it that way. It'll work out. So this show is definitely worth checking out, I think, any time of the year. The one thing that the dealers said who didn't have as good of a show, or just were like, well, this wasn't as busy, they all said, oh, wait till November. So there's this interesting dynamic there where they understand that, hey, November's going to be rocking even if June wasn't rocking. So I thought that was a pretty interesting perspective. The other thing to know is, like, it really makes sense to have this show, and it makes sense for me why this show is so large, because I didn't fully understand the geography, because I've never been to the East Coast before. I mean, you see it on a map, right? But it's a little bit different when you get there. and you start talking to the people, and they're like, yeah, I'm from New Jersey, I'm from Pennsylvania, I'm from West Virginia, I'm from Virginia, I'm from New York, and you see all these people, oh, they're from Maryland as well. You see all these people who come into the show, and for them it's a couple 2-3 hour drive, and they can come in, they can spend the day, and they can go, or they can spend the night. And there's, of course, like I said, all the historical things to do in the area, which makes it also a very appealing trip for most people if you like, historical stuff. And so for a lot of coin collectors, we tend to like history. There was a lot of things to see there, including everything from the high-end collectors and dealers to mom and pop guys, world collectors, world dealers. Met some really cool folks there that were dealing in world. The one thing that I'll say that I felt like was a little bit different, first of all, they have a really big supply dealer there who had like a ton of supplies, including some more interesting books. And they also seem to have more currency dealers. So some of the currency dealers that I saw at Long Beach were also at Baltimore, back-to-back weekends with a lot of travel. But also there were a handful more currency dealers there. So I feel like the Baltimore show gives you some more options if you're into paper money. And also at the show, you had all of the big companies, right? So you had Heritage Stacks, you had Great Collections, NGC, PMG, PCGS, Annex, CAC. Everyone was at the show. And my understanding is that in the fall, there will be on-site grading for many of those companies. Maybe not all of them, but many of them. On to Baltimore itself. The weird thing for me is I've had a lot of dealers tell me, oh, you got to go to Baltimore. And I've had a lot of dealers tell me like, don't go to Baltimore. I'm like, oh, what is this? Like, what are we talking about? And I don't understand exactly what it is that some of the dealers and people don't like about Baltimore. Now, I sincerely try not to ever watch the news ever. And so I'm wondering if there's some biases built in here that I don't know about because I like to be ignorant. And so I feel like people want to go to the ANA in Chicago and they want to go to Southern California. And as far as I can tell after being there and walking around with my daughter, mostly what I saw was families walking around, going to stuff. The show's at a convention center. A block over, you have the inner harbor where you have these old ships you can tour. A block over in the other direction is Camden Yards. We went to a baseball game, had a nice time. And there's just a lot of people just having a nice time in that area. My perception is that Baltimore is like any other large city. It has all the same large city problems that you would see in Chicago or Phoenix or LA. And so, if you want to go have a good time, see historical items, go to a good show, just stay in the area there, it's nice. I didn't see anything that really set it apart and made it any different than being in any other major city. Other than the fact that it has a lot of tourist stops and historical items that you could look at and you can enjoy. So I am looking forward to going back to the show this fall and covering it some more for you guys. I hope you look forward to some of the interviews that I did. Also, as far as the coin market goes, nothing new to report that I didn't report last week. I will say that it feels like tough material is still tough, good material is still hard to get, and rare material is people are still fighting for it. I have said before, and I'll say again, some of you are more common date stuff and average stuff has continued to come back down in price after the big COVID push. But, I don't know that there's ever anything wrong with coins being on sale. I think this is a good problem to have for the most part within the coin market, including but not including like Carson City dollars and common date, which went from roughly $200 to $400, and now they're coming back down. And I think that's fantastic because they've always been one of the most popular series, and I think everyone should kind of own a really nice Carson City dollar if they can. All right, everyone, thanks for joining me, and thanks for those of you who stopped by and said hi at the show. It was a pleasure to meet you, and I look forward to meeting more of you in November. Speaking of shows, TucsonCoinshow.com. The website is up and running. There's things on there that actually aren't going to happen, so don't look at the website just yet. But anyway, come to Tucson. Have a good time. Room rates are going to be like $129 and $159 a night. No parking fees. Just the good old, just a good time. January 17, 18, Tucson, Arizona, 2025. I'll see you then. All right, guys, thanks so much for watching. I've been the Coin Geek. You can subscribe by clicking on the owl button in the corner and watch more videos on the right side of the screen. Thanks.